Family of Adrian Lamph, the 29-year-old Catholic murdered as he worked in a council skipyard in Portadown yesterday, have issued a statement saying they're still committed to what they call the momentum for peace, and have praised the politicians who they say have taken risks to secure harmony here. No group has admitted responsibility for the murder, but local people are blaming the LVF. Ivan Little reports.
The harrowing but all too familiar images which Northern Ireland hoped it had seen the last of in the wake of the Good Friday Agreement, as today church leaders comforted relatives of the first sectarian murder victim since the deal was finalised 13 days ago. Adrian Lamph's family, who lived just off the Garvaghy Road, were too distressed to face the cameras today, but they issued a moving statement to journalists in which they spoke of their grief, anger and outrage, together with their hope for the future. They said they couldn't start to understand the hatred and sectarianism which could drive anyone to commit such evil against someone who hated no one.
The statement said the family's commitment to the current momentum for peace remained unmoved, and they said they would be voting yes in the coming referendum, hoping for a future where people could live with their differences and where the future was seen as more precious than the past. The family also said they hoped Adrian Lamph's death would be the last in what they called the madness of our society.
As police searched the murder scene at Craigavon Council's civic amenities site in Portadown for more clues to the killing, the Lamph family praised politicians for taking risks for peace. They also appealed for no retaliation. The Catholic primate, Archbishop Sean Brady, described the Lamph family's statement as inspirational, and he condemned the killers.
We thought we were coming out of that chapter of our history, and please God we are. I think that I hope it will reinforce the determination of everybody to work all that harder to make sure that we leave this chapter of violence behind us.
Portadown's parish priest had been with Adrian Lamph during his last moments in Craigavon Area Hospital last night.
What struck me as we went along the corridor was the trail of blood right along the length of the corridor. So we got to the bedside and I gave him the last rites and spent the next couple of hours just with the family, slowly watching his life ebbing away.
Even though no one's claimed responsibility for the murder yet, it's still believed the LVF were responsible.
Hopes have been built up recently, that possibly all this was finished with, it was over. But again, you do have that element in the Mid-Ulster area who are quite intent in ensuring that there's not going to be peace of any description.
You've no doubt it was the LVF then?
I don't think anybody has any doubt that it was the LVF.
And those who think that they're furthering the cause of the No campaign by murdering innocent people who are going about their daily work and their daily routine are sadly mistaken.
Detectives leading the murder hunt have appealed for information about the lone gunman who shot Mr. Lamph. They say he rode into the yard on a mountain bike from Church Street and escaped towards West Street. Later, clothing was found burning in the area. The RUC have described the killing as the brutal, vicious and callous slaying of a decent, hard-working man, but they wouldn't speculate on who the killers were.
We're looking at all aspects. And we will also be looking at the aspect of whether or not it's sectarian, but at this stage it's much too early into the investigation to say what the motive was.
At Craigavon Council offices, flags were flying at half-mast for their murdered employee, while talks with worried colleagues went on.
And they obviously have concerns about their safety and security, and we're undertaking a review now of all security measures for staff to ensure that we minimise the risk to employees in any of their work.
The Secretary of State said the killers had nothing to offer.
It's just another tragedy that we have to live with in Northern Ireland. And I just hope that the determination of the people here will overcome yet another tragedy that folk have to live with.
This afternoon, family and friends were arriving at the locked Civic Amenity Centre at Fairgreen to lay flowers in tribute to Mr. Lamph. He was the youngest of 5 sons. 2 of his brothers are prominent businessmen. Friends say he'd worked for a time in England, but had come back here to help set up a new home for his fiancée Nicola and their young son Jude. Ivan Little, UTV Live, Portadown.